I never do anything with my photographs after taking them. Yesterday, I happened to stumble upon a video on YouTube with yet another so-called professional photographer claiming that he never edits photographs, and when you edit photographs, you're not a good enough photographer. That's what he said. And the name of that photographer was Moose Peterson. So if I were to say, I never edit my photographs, I never crop my photographs, I never do anything with my photographs after taking them, wouldn't that be kind of a lie? Because I do edit my photographs, even though I don't edit them heavily. I do basically what you can do in a darkroom, I do in Lightroom. But let's talk about me and my editing later on in this video. First, I want to kind of burst the bubble of the lie of I never edit a photograph. Let's take a few minutes to talk about this editing of photographs. Because I believe editing is not only done in Lightroom or in the darkroom or in Photoshop or any other software you can use, nor does the editing start within the camera either, even though you can edit photographs in some cameras and in your cell phones and whatever doohickey you use to edit your photographs. And this is becoming a rant, so I'll stop there and talk about when I believe the editing process starts. Okay. But first of all, like I said, I do believe every photographer edits their photographs. Why do I believe this? Well, because when you see reality as a photographer, you want to shape that reality to your liking, to your view of that reality. And by doing so, you could say that you actually start editing the photograph even before it's taken. Because when you go out on a mission or with a purpose to do a photography session, like a street photographer or nature photographer or any other kind of photographer, you start planning your project. You start planning for when the best light is, when there's most people out, when the sky would be right, or any other things like that. And already here you start to shape the reality towards your vision of what you want to photograph. And even though this is pre-editing, it's actually shaping a photograph with light, darkness, shadows, highs and lows. And that is actually what you do in Lightroom or in a software or in a darkroom. I don't believe you just go out there and take a snapshot of what you see in front of you and then go home. That isn't editing. That's just taking a snapshot of reality. But if you plan to go out and do photography, you start your editing process already in your mind before you pick up the camera and go out through the door. And the light is perfect and the time is right, you head through the door, you go out either on the streets or in nature, and you just start to wait. You know, I want this kind of person in my street photograph, I want this kind of animal in my nature photograph, I want the animal to do this, I want the person to do that, I want the sky to look like this, I want the colors to be like that, things like that. Also a part of planning. Also a part of editing reality. To match your view of what you're depicting. Also editing. And when your scene is right, you might start to fiddle with your settings on the camera. You bring up the shadows, you bring down the highlights. You might do some color correction if you are able to. You may apply some filters in your camera, like a lot of food shooters do, because they have their recipes. And then you start to edit your photograph in your camera before you've taken the photograph. Am I right or am I wrong so far? When you think about it? I believe I'm right. Even though it's not editing in a software, it's editing, pre-editing if you want to call it. So, back to me, my photography, and my thoughts about editing photographs for me, for myself. I start by, usually, planning the day. Look out the window, what weather is it? I take my gear with me that I need to use that day. Usually one lens, one camera. I go out. I go into the streets. I walk around. I plan the scene. I wait for the right moment. If I want people in the photograph, I wait for the people to arrive. If I don't, I wait for the people to get the out of my way. I wait for the right light conditions. Then I start taking my photographs. Take a few, fiddle with my camera settings, take a few more, fiddle a bit more, take a few more photographs. Then I come home, let them mature on the memory card for a couple of days. Or as in my latest project, they will marinate on my memory card for almost a year, I believe. And when I import the photographs in Lightroom, I mostly just edit the highs and lows. I do some dodge, I do some burning. And this is because my way of working is because I started out in a Lightroom. In a darkroom. And when I was in a darkroom, I only did dodging and burning, and cropping. When I'm done with dodging and burning, I crop the photograph, so I get the subject basically where I want the subject to be. I'm not a fan of cropping, but I do it if it's necessary. I don't think it should be forbidden to crop an image. Jesus, you got a lot of megapixels to crop out if you have a fairly new modern camera. And if there's some thing I don't like in the photograph, like a person popping in where he shouldn't be, and if I can just by lightly cloning him out or her, I do it. If there's some dust on the sensor or in the lens, I clone it away. I don't leave it there to just say, oh, I don't edit my photographs. I want my photographs to look exactly as I want them. Not saying I chase perfection, but I don't want the photographs to look that bad. And if my photograph is in color, which I rarely shoot these days, I prefer black and white, I mute the colors a bit. I don't want sharp colors in my photographs. And when I'm done dodging, burning, muting, cloning, whatever, cropping, I add a preset. I use preset from Real Nice Images to mimic film, because I like the look of film. And I can't get that right out of the camera. So yeah, I try to spend as little time as possible in Lightroom. Not because I don't like working in Lightroom and Photoshop. I love working in Lightroom and Photoshop. Just as I love being in a dark room, making prints and watching the prints come out on the paper. I love to see my photograph getting the final touches in Lightroom and then seeing them come out of a printer and having them on paper. But I love doing photography more than editing, so that's why I try to spend as little time as possible in Lightroom. Not because I don't like editing. Heck, I'm even a trained Adobe Ace. So that must say a bit about why I like editing photographs and doing stuff in Photoshop. And I'm sorry if I sound a bit annoyed, angry even. I don't hate photographers who say they don't edit their photographs, but I think they sit on high horses, and when they brag about, "Oh, I'm not editing my photographs," a lot of them, it's just bragging. And when you look at their photographs, they should be editing something at least. Putting others down or trash talking or roasting people who likes to edit their photographs or do it out of a necessity is fucking silly. If you want to edit your photographs, go ahead, edit the shit out of your photographs. If you don't want to, don't. Just don't tell other people what's right and what's wrong. That is just stupid. And at least in my eyes, when you do that, you just show yourself in bad light, and instead encourage people to go out, take better photographs, encourage people to dare to pick up camera and enjoy photography their way, not your way. Heck, even the masters of photography like Ansel Adams, Bruce Gilden, Lennart Nilsson, the Swedish photographer, Sol Leiter, everybody edit their photographs, at least in the darkroom. Somehow they edit their photographs. So, if you made it this far in this rant about editing, what do you think about editing? When does it start? When does it end? Does it start already when you start planning your photograph? Or does it start when you open the photograph in any software? Or when you develop the film in a tank? Like even when you develop your film, you start the editing process, because you can use different solutions depending on the result you want from the negative. So that's also starting to editing your photograph. So, while I go to work on my next video, where I'll be talking about something else I don't know yet, it will be related to photography. While I work on my next video, I want you to sound off in the comments about what you think about editing. Is it right? Is it wrong? Are photographers allowed to edit their photographs or not? I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you in the next one.